Back to the book. The entire area was now alive with North Vietnamese soldiers who had obviously cut through the battalion's line of march, severing the head of the battalion from the body. Gwyn saw 3 GIs coming through the high grass, running from the area swarming with enemy. I jumped up and screamed to them, waving my arm. They saw me and headed directly to our position. The first man was a captain, our Air Force forward air controller, who was completely spent. I pointed out the battalion command group, which was huddled to our rear at another anthill, and he crawled toward them. He was followed by the battalion sergeant major, Jim Scott, who dropped down next to me. And Scott was followed by a young, very small PFC who was delirious and holding his guts in with his hands. He kept asking, "Are the helicopters coming?" I said, "Yes, hang on." The battalion commander initially thought that the incoming rounds were all friendly fire. So think about that. The battalion commander initially thought that the incoming rounds were all friendly fire. So what's his reaction? Take cover, don't shoot back. Which is actually, if you're getting maneuvered on by an enemy, the worst possible thing you can do is take cover and not shoot back, because that means the enemy's going to maneuver faster on you. Back to the book. He had been hollering for all of us to cease fire, and the word went out over the command net, but to no avail, as the troops on the perimeter could see North Vietnamese. Can you imagine the confusion? You've got the battalion commander on the command net yelling to everyone to cease fire, and meanwhile you can literally see North Vietnamese and you're shooting and engaging them. This is mayhem. The sergeant major and I were looking to the rear when I heard a loud blast. The sergeant major yelled, "I'm hit." He had taken a round in the back under his armpit, and there was a large hole underneath his right arm. I told him he would be okay to bandage it himself. This he did, ripping off his shirt. Then he picked up his M16 and headed back to one of the anthills. I saw the sergeant major a few times after that, and he was fighting like a demon. Sergeant Major Scott says, "I took a bullet through my chest not more than 15 or 20 minutes into the battle. I could see enemy soldiers to our left, right, and front in platoon and company size elements. They were up in trees, up on top of anthills, and in the high grass. We weren't exactly organized. We didn't have time. Everything happened all at once. I didn't see a hole being dug up prior to 8 p.m. that night. We did use the trees and anthills for cover. Within a half an hour, there was an attempt to organize groups into defensive position in the company area. Individuals did this. No one in particular. I think that's what saved us." So this is decentralized command coming at you. The only thing that gets them together is that individuals stepped up and said, "Okay, we need to form a perimeter defense." Now, unfortunately, a half an hour had already passed when they got to this point where individuals start making the call. The other thing is there's a lack of overall direction. So you get to a point where if everyone knew, hey, here's the position we're going to be in the battalion, here's our formation, if something happens, here's what we're going to do, we're going to bound towards this area. There's all kinds of contingency plans that could have been done here. Now, again, I'm doing hindsight 2020, which I hate doing, but we are trying to learn, and we are trying to talk to all the military people that are listening to this that are out doing operations right now. Think about this.